let's take a look at now how to set up LMN Time to track salt for billing, or even just track salt for tracking. Again, we'll assume that you've done your job info, you set up your job right. We'll jump straight to the tasks. And now tasks don't really have a lot to do with tracking salt for billing. We want to use activities to track that. Salt is a material. So tasks are time. Tasks are how the crew are going to clock in their hours. If I want to track salting hours separately from the plowing hours, then by all means, you could create this, for example, you could set to, you could open this one up and just change it to plowing. And I could have a separate task for salting, but it's not necessary because in some cases, again, if the plow truck is going to plow and salt, it doesn't really make sense to ask your driver to clock out of one and into another. It's going to create a lot of confusion and a lot of forgotten. But if you do want to track salt separately, and especially if you have a dedicated salt truck who goes there, then it could make sense to track that separately. So if you do want to track the time for salting separately, set it up. But I'm not worried about here. I certainly don't want to track this for billing by the hour because I'm not. This video is not about billing by the hour. This is about tracking a per bag or per application rate for salt. So I don't want that on. I just want to set these up normal. And again, I want to set this up as simple as possible. So if one operator does all these three things when they're there, I combine it. It's up to you how you want to set that up. We're going to jump right to activities. So under the activities, this is where I'm going to track salt. So once again, tasks are what the crews clock into. So when they arrive at site, they're going to pick a task. Now at that time, they don't know how much salt they've put down. So it's not the time and place to set up anything to do with salt billing under tasks. Activities are what the crews are going to be prompted with after they leave the site. So that's what we want to set up to track salt. So again, down the bottom, we're going to go to add activities. And I've already got some set up. You can hit add new to set yours up. But here I've got 3 different examples of salting. I've got salting lots by the app. I've got salting lots by the ton if you want your guys to estimate how many tons they put down. And I've got salting walks. This could be by the bag. Actually, to make this more clear, we could add bag in brackets beside it so the crews would know. Anyway, if this job is billed or tracked by the app, I'm going to turn that on. And if I also want to track whether we put down bags of salt in the walks, I'm going to turn on that as well. This field here is track quantity. Now, if you want to track how many bags you put down for the walks, then definitely turn this on. Set this to per unit and set this to the price you charge per bag applied. Now, the application can go either way. If you always just bill for full apps, then you don't really need to track the quantity. An app is an app. And if we're going to charge for this job $180 an app, then that's how I'm going to set it up. If you want the crews to have the flexibility to say, well, tonight was half an app, we didn't put much salt down, or tonight was a big app because the weather was super cold, so we put sort of an app and a half down, then you are going to want to turn on. This field here is track quantity. So you are going to want to turn this on. And even though we're billing $180 per application, it gives the crew the ability to say this particular night was a 1.5 application, so it would bill 180 times 1.5. Or in the case where it was a light application, you could say, hey, we did half an app tonight, and then it's only going to bill them for half an app at $90 after that night. So when you hit OK, those come in here, and again, you can change the price in the last screen, or if the price was incorrect here, if I screwed up, I can fix that. If it's $210 an app, we can change it here. So you don't have to use your settings default pricing. Every job can have its own price. But now what I've basically done is set up 2 things for the crews to track when they clock out of this job. So on their exit, it's going to ask them, did you put down an application of salt, and did you do the walks? And if they click yes, it's going to ask them the quantity, and we'll take a look at what that looks like. So for a job, and again, this is a different job, we're also tracking plow here, but on this job, when the crew clocks out, here's the salt lots by the app, and here's the salting lots by the task. So I can turn that on. Now, because I turned track quantity on, it's asking me, did we do any differently than one app? The default's going to be 1. But in this case, if we did half an app, I can put half an app in there, and we're good. Now I can also go to salting walks, and it's going to ask me, how many bags did you put down? And if we put down 1.5 bags, then again, that's what I'll enter here. And what the crew is tracking is exactly how much salt they put down on the site for job costing and billing. Put their task notes in and hit save. Now, what that looks like on a report, and I'm just going to jump to a report that I already generated for a different site, so the quantities won't match what I just entered, but it makes the video faster. Here's what it looks like coming out on the back end on the billing report. So once that timesheet is submitted, and once your office has had a look and approved it, you can run a billing report, and what it's going to show you, that plow complete, that's unrelated. Let's just focus on the salting. So the salting, because we ticked off that we did an app, one app, and in the case of what I just showed you, the quantity here would be 0.5. The price that you set up for the job is going to be here, and then the total price is going to be the quantity times the rate. And again, you did salting. How many bags of salt did you put down? What's our rate for salt? There's the total price, and we're going to get a total for this event. So again, we can run totals for each event. If you just want to track salt, but you don't necessarily want to bill for it, that's easy as well. You can just go in here, and you can leave track quantities on. So you still want an activity. You still want to track quantities, but you're going to set your billing type to not billable. So again, I'm going to go in here, not billable. What this will do is give me the freedom to, again, my crews will still enter that they did the salting and how much salt they put down, but I'm not going to charge the customer for it. That's how you'd set it up if salt was included in the contract price. So that's how to set up salting for both billable and non-billable or inclusive contracts.